second largest economy to 2.8%, compared with 8.1% last year, and Burma's prediction in April of between 4 and 5% for this year. At the same time, expectations for the rest of East Asia and the Pacific have improved. The region, excluding China, is expected to grow 5.3% in 2022, up from 2.6% last year, thanks to high commodity prices and a rebound in domestic consumption after the coronavirus.
Loading. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys. Make a love shout out. Silang
Very disappointing. I
loading.
think we were stable after the 2-0 lead, but we made a couple of individual mistakes. And then England brought on a couple of fresh players who also had a lot to do with it, as they made England more powerful in attack. We made individual errors, and that's why it's simply disappointing. But we must also say that the positive is that we came back after the 3-2 here in England, and that kind of courage from the team is exactly what we need. We don't need to give up, but stick at it and try to turn it around. All the players and the coaching team are really disappointed with the way in which we had the fight taken out of us over a period of 15 to 20 minutes. The English players were much more aggressive and won a lot more battles. So these are the things we simply have to improve on if we want to have a successful World Cup. So we need to work on that.
Thanks, Bebeng. Beautiful Aida. Thank you. Pa-update lang po, Re. Ayaw makita yung
really focus on Harry, but there were some very important moments that Harry delivered during the two matches. Luke was another example of somebody that, he's an outstanding footballer. So what do we do? Not pick Luke Shaw because he's not playing enough football, or do we pick a player that can do what you saw tonight? And that's always going to raise debate, but I think in these moments we've got to back our best and our most experienced players. Unless we're in a situation where, it's almost untenable and impossible to pick them. We would be foolish not to keep an open mind to, especially players that have worked with us before, who we know,
Salamat,
can slot in pretty comfortably. I think.
May ano ka ba? May LS ka ngayon?
Games is a really good example of that. He didn't need big adaptation. He fits in with the group immediately. So those guys in particular, we're monitoring closely, but also we've got to keep an open mind on others, because in certain positions we don't have a lot of depth, and we've still got to be analysing, is there somebody that can come
napanjay ko eskwela. Baka teacher wa. Nag-update na lang, may isang ako ka red. Okay, baka teacher wa.
The Australia squad will eat, sleep and train at the Aspire Academy in Doha as they give their all to hoist their first World Cup trophy in Qatar when the competition gets underway in November. Let's take a behind-the-scenes look at the accommodation the Aussies will call home during the Cup. It includes a communal dining area, sleep rooms with comfortable sitting areas, and a full modern gym just off a training pitch. Located in Doha's Aspire Zone, the Aspire Academy is a sports academy that was founded in 2004 to mould young athletes. The grounds are adjacent to the Khalifa International Stadium, though Australia is not expected to play any matches there unless they play in the third-place match, which will be hosted there. Australia will open their World Cup campaign against France on the 22nd of November. They will also face Tunisia and Denmark in Group D.
Nakakatamad mag-LS dito sa mag-stock, hindi mo
Portugal legend Luis Figo has helped set a world record for the highest football game played at an altitude of 20,230 feet in zero gravity conditions. Figo teamed up with a diverse team of 7 football heroes from across the Middle East, Europe, and Latin America to set his Guinness World Records, titled for the highest alternate game of football on a parabolic flight. The match was played across a 75 square meter football field, specially set inside the aircraft. The other players in the Sky High match were Mohammed Hassan,
That is with the cable, but this one,
Leon and
your
Ismail,
old one.
Johnny Fiends, Redison
Somewhere I
Rocha,
put them.
Egan Mustafa, and Farah.
If you remember, this is long time ago. Same with
The Portuguese won the 2000 Ballon d'Or and had an illustrious career playing in some of Europe's best clubs, including Sporting CP, Barcelona,
Yeah, I
Real
didn't
Madrid,
use
and
them.
Inter Milan, with 127 caps for the Portugal national team.
Sinceramente,
And
ao
this also
princípio
now,
não sabia
now it's not
que
working.
podíamos ser recorde mundial da Guinness por
But even that small one, I struggle because it keeps falling out.
experiência, mas sem dúvida que
Every
depois
time I go
de
to the barber shop.
participar, acho que é uma coisa inesquecível, como referi anteriormente, e também
Oh, ano
e
ba
que
yan?
merece estar na Guinness Book. So I'm banking on that. I got faith in that. We got guys in this locker room that care. We got people in this organization that want to see this organization be as one of the prominent ones in sports. So
Where is
banking on
he
that.
cleaning
We
today
got
or
competitive people in this building.
still clean
Yeah,
tomorrow?
I got faith that moving forward that we all want the
Still
same
clean
thing.
the hammam
Especially
today
after,
and then tomorrow still clean.
a summer of us,
room, yeah?
basically having a standoff, That's only going to make us better and make us more competitive and want to go out there and show what we can do. This is one of those shocking things. You have your best friend and you're watching your best friend go through now the other side
This
of the
one?
media storm that comes with this trade
It's
request
working,
and
but it
being in the
takes some
middle
time
of
to set the time.
it's kind of like a clusterfuck. You know what I mean? Just like all of this, all the stories that we've come up with, all the narratives around this team, that it's hard to answer every single question you guys have about us and what our intent is. So I'll do my best to just say that, I honored what Kev had done, and I was wishing him the best, but
نوع من القنوات غير مباشرة من قبل أن يتم حل هذه الخلافات بشكل أكثر أولا كما قلت قبل.
To Africa and the poetry to it. It is our mother tongue. It's the tongue that we were born into, that I spoke, the language that we inherited and that we now kind of claim as our own as well. At some point I feel like we don't need a validation from anywhere, whether those spheres be from academics or from outsiders or from people who think that who call themselves pure Afrikaans speakers, whatever pure Afrikaans means. I think it's exceptionally important that Afrikaans is part of the growth and advancement of Afrikaans as a language. I feel like it's one of the only ways that Afrikaans as a language is going to move forward, is to be in collaboration with Afrikaans, because it's something, it's a language that is spoken by a very large majority of Afrikaans speakers. And it is our time now for that language to be on the world stage, and I think Barakat has proven that.
Look at the discussion we're having about Africa on Al Jazeera, on an international network. You do that. Go ahead.
This one, I don't know.
Yeah, and I also would just like to add that it's actually becoming accepted
Because the HDMI,
even by academics. We are at this
goes into the back of the TV.
This one also, this is for the TV in
it's going to.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this one,
because
it connects to this TV, and I use it, and it's good. But the problem is, it's short the cable, you need a longer one,
it's there even for
so that you can
academics
reach
to
where I'm
learn.
sitting.
And people are, they are accepting of the fact that Afrikaans has become an accepted, I'm still not sure whether we call it dialect or language. I think we still, there's still a discrepancy about that. But let's claim it and let's celebrate it.
Thank you guys sa patamsak. Pasensya na, nag-stuck eh. Ayaw gumalaw ng taon niya.
So if you're on the African continent, I'm jealous because you can see it. Elsewhere, we'll talk to Amy and Ephraim and Vinette about where you might be able to see it elsewhere and when. But I'm going to take you to Masjid. There's this beautiful scene. There's prayers being offered during Masjid in Barakat, the movie.
Thank you.
Take a look.
Het was een beetje stilstaan. Dit praat over Barakat. Ali Barakat dat ons krijgt en it is incumbent on us to be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times. To be grateful is very important. We should be grateful because all things that we have been granted come from our Creator. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rabbul Alameen. Our families, our fathers and mothers, those of us who are still fortunate to have them, our grandparents, our sisters and brothers, our own children, those of you who are married. Those are all gifts that we were given. How often do we take things for granted? There's a sweetness to the Iman, the belief that you and I have. My question is, how many of you have tasted that sweetness?
Ken says, I can't wait to see this film. Ken's on YouTube. Johnny Fan, I am so pleased, all caps, to see these stories be given a global platform. What you see in terms of the plot and the story is also reflected behind the scenes with the behind the scenes crew. Amy, you called yourself an activist, a film activist. Tell me about the activism you did behind the camera with the crew.
Yeah, for sure. I think we wanted to make sure that the people who were working on it and contributing and were collaborators were people who were from this community. So our crew was, at some point, like probably 97% colored, like majority colored. A lot of them were Muslims themselves. We made a conscious decision not to, of course, film on Friday, which is Jumu'ah here in Cape Town as well. And so we observed the Muslim Sabbath there. So yeah, I think it was very intentional for us to also make the journey of the film one that was in service to the story. And Ephraim had like a big hand in that as the producer. I think if we being quite intentional with how we chose our crew.
I think people are asking, where can we see this film? Where can we see Barakat? And you have an international audience. People are eager to see it. How are they going to see it?
Currently, you can, it's on a pay-to-view platform called Eventive. You can check it out there. There's two different ways to see it for when you're on the African continent or outside. So be careful which link to go into. It's very clearly marked. But also, if you're in South Africa and on the African continent, you can get it on DSTV box office. It's been placed back on box office yesterday. So it should be back there. So those are the two avenues at the moment.
Fantastic.
And we're looking.
You can tell that Ephraim is the producer because he knows these facts. They are at hand. Ephraim, Vinette, Amy, what a pleasure. Thank you for sharing Barakat with us. We wish you every success with the film. And YouTubers, appreciate your comments and your questions. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching this stream.
October on Al Jazeera. In an election set to define a nation, Brazilians will choose between the radically different current hardline conservative president and the former socialist president.
A sense of community delves into 4 unique communities, revealing how they're adapting to the 21st century.
China holds its National Congress of Communist Party members, with President Xi likely to be re-elected as its head. What does this mean for China and the world?
Bollywood Dreams takes you beyond the glitz and glamour, revealing the stories of those seeking fame and fortune in the world's largest film industry.
Bosnia goes to the polls in an election that will be watched closely by both the EU and Russia.
October on Al Jazeera.
I am very delighted to participate in the All Africa Mode.
They are the continent's brightest legal students.
Putting our minds against the best minds in Africa would really be interesting to see how we measure up.
Gather together for a tournament unlike it.
CNN Arabic is perfectly placed to find the facts. This is where stories happen. Politics, business, culture, real life. As the pace of change moves faster, we ask the important question: what is the truth? This is CNNArabic.com.
Explore the hidden treasures of Cappadocia, Turkey. How people live here still amazes me. Go behind these walls for a glimpse of ancient history.
9,000 years ago. This is a very big deal, actually.
Journey over and into a magical landscape to uncover its secrets. It really is wild and unique. The shapes on the rocks, the history, and in the shadow of a volcano, rediscover a 3,000-year-old tradition. Hidden Treasures, Saturday on CNN.
I'm Patrick Robin in Havana, Cuba, and this is CNN.
Welcome back to our viewers in the United States and around the world. I'm John Bors at the CNN Center in Atlanta. It is now 1 a.m. on the U.S. East Coast, and almost the entire state of Florida bracing for the impact of Hurricane Ian, a monster storm stretching 700 miles across, which earlier made landfall on western Cuba, knocking out the island's electricity grid and causing a nationwide blackout. 11 million people right now in the dark, waiting for morning to assess the damage. As of this hour, no reports of any fatalities. Since leaving Cuba, Ian has grown in strength, fueled by the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. As it heads to Florida, now Category 3, with sustained winds of around 120 miles per hour. Along with life-threatening storm surge,
what's happening?
Flooding, strong, powerful winds. All day long, choosing residents across the state.
Hindi na nag-move. Hello? Oh my gosh. Morning, good morning, good morning. Ayaw pong umano. Ayaw pong gumalaw. Gaspa. Ano? Now ulit. Hindi mo laggarawan.
The Florida shelf off the west coast of Florida, where it spans about 150 or so miles off towards the west here, and it's a very shallow, wide shelf that sits in place, depth of about 300 feet. That reason here, this shelf in particular, allows water to pile up quite effectively. So you can essentially water can easily go up into the base here and create the storm surge threat that we're seeing. Of course, that is the primary leader in depth in tropical cyclone. That is one of the areas of concern with this particular storm in general, and that is exactly what we're watching when it comes to where the system could eventually end up. South of Tampa Bay, producing with it winds that are upwards of 130 miles per hour sustained, and away from the center, some 140 miles away from the center, you will still feel tropical storm force winds extending all the way to central and north central portions of Florida, Orlando included. So it's certainly not just the area of impact that will feel what the storm has to offer. The storm of this magnitude this size, John, just about everyone across central Florida is going to feel the impact of this.
I don't know, this wire is okay, they're working or what?
Many parts of Florida, police and fire departments, as well as other emergency responders, will soon decide conditions are too dangerous to respond to calls for help. In Tampa, which is especially unprepared and vulnerable to the storm, officials are warning residents of the very low risk to property and the dangers to life. CNN's Ryan Young has our report.
Good. Hey, we're coming by and letting everybody know that you're in a mandatory evacuation situation.
The Tampa Bay area in its final
Salamat Aldrin sa patamsa.
Tampa Bay Police
Kaso lang
efforts to warn residents
hindi na bumumog eh.
It's a reinforcement to let them know that.
Try nga natin pa take 2.
This is not a drill.